Well, with the NBA free agency period set to open tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the NBA trade market is very much already open, and, well, business is being conducted daily. We, of course, first saw the bombshell trade. I kid, because it was a pretty lukewarm, tepid trade in my estimation. Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Miami Heat. We saw the Minnesota Timberwolves doing, well, God knows what the hell they were doing with that LaMelo Ball trade. And now, yes, the Boston Celtics are seemingly engaged in several different trade discussions for the services of Jaylen Brown. Many thanks to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. And let's be honest, Jaylen Brown wasn't really seeming all that happy in Boston as it was. He was talking about how last year was his favorite year in the NBA. That despite the fact they didn't get out of the first round of the NBA playoffs, and they actually choked away a 3-1 series lead to, of all teams, the Philadelphia 76ers. Yet last year was Jaylen Brown's favorite year, because, of course, he didn't have to share the ball or the spotlight with teammate Jason Tatum. So, look, there was already rampant speculation that potentially the Celtics would be willing to move off of Jaylen Brown. And, well, those whispers became actual conversations whenever they tried to trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And if Jaylen Brown wasn't happy before, he certainly isn't going to be happy now after hearing his name bandied about in all kinds of trade conversations and discussions. Yes, I think the writing is on the wall, both for player and franchise, that Jaylen Brown simply has to be moved, and he has to be moved sooner rather than later. And of course, the Denver Nuggets, who are in utter disarray right now. Their entire franchise is falling apart around Nikola Jokic. So they are trying to trade pretty much anything and everything on their entire roster outside of Jokic. Of course, they have surfaced as a potential trade partner and a destination for Jaylen Brown. One such trade in particular is gaining such traction that even Bill Simmons, of all people, are talking about it.
There's a lot of smoke billowing around Denver in general. Some I believe, some I don't believe. Murray and Cam Johnson for Jaylen and Hauser.
And Simmons is even endorsing this deal on behalf of his beloved Boston Celtics.
I think if I'm Boston, I'm signing up for that trade.
That's how you know that this trade would be an absolute disaster for the Denver Nuggets, of which I am going to break down the reasons why I think that. But first, guys, not only is NBA free agency about to be heating up, not only is the trade market already hot, the World Cup is also now into the knockout round, and therefore I am getting into the action with Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Guys, it's easy for you to get in the action as well. You just pick more or less on a few player stats to lock in your lineups. I am feeling these goaltenders here. I'm going with Allison Becker, more than 1.5 saves. I also like Orlando Hill, more than 2.5 saves. And of course, I have to throw in some Mbappe and Messi, because these guys have been so utterly hot during this entire tournament to this point. Now that we are in the knockout round, I'm going to continue to ride their hot hands, or I guess hot feet. Mbappe and Messi, I see them both at just 0.5 goals. I have to go more on both of them. And to help you guys get in the game even more today, I, of course, have a new users offer. Play $5, get $50 in lineups to download the app using code HMA with the link in the description. And seriously, I have to ask this question again. What the hell are the Denver Nuggets doing? What the hell are their front office doing? What is their ownership thinking right now? The Nuggets already, with $215 million committed next year on their books, that is with an estimated salary cap to come in around $195 to $200 million. Oh, and by the way, that $215 million on the books already doesn't even count a single dollar towards Peyton Watson, who is their prize free agent that they are reportedly gearing up to offer somewhere in the vicinity of $28 to $30 million annually, which would plunge the Denver Nuggets directly into the second apron. So a lot of things need to happen for the Denver Nuggets this offseason, because that entails them throwing $28 to $30 million at Peyton Watson and keeping everything on the books. That entails just running it back, keeping the same roster as they've had predominantly for the last 3-4 seasons. A roster which now hasn't been out of the second round in 3 years and won just 2 total playoff games last year in a 4-2 humiliating ousting at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. Obviously and quite clearly, this team shouldn't be concerned with running it back. What they should be trying to do is blowing it up. And first and foremost, in my humble opinion, that should primarily include getting Jamal Murray out of town. Please, for the love of God, get him out, get him off of the contract books. Please, it is time to cut ties with Jamal Murray. Playoff sinker, who is one of the worst perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. And there is no doubt that Jaylen Brown, in my estimation overall, would be an upgrade over Jamal Murray. Just in the fact that Brown plays substantially better defense than Jamal Murray, and one of their biggest issues, the Nuggets' biggest issues, has been their perimeter defense. But still, I think this proposed deal is more of just a net neutral move for the Denver Nuggets, and I really don't think it gets them to where they want to ultimately be, which is, again, to be title contenders, because you're getting rid of Cam Johnson, who the Denver Nuggets should take Cam Johnson out of their mouths. The Denver Nuggets front office should stop trying to peddle this guy in the form of a salary dump or as a throw-in to bring in Jaylen Brown. Cam Johnson profiled as the Nuggets' third best player last season. He was third in plus-minus, third in on-off, and I think he should be one of the 3 guys that the Denver Nuggets are actually trying to keep right now. Just build around Cam Johnson, Peyton Watson, and Nikola Jokic. That's it. Get rid of everybody else. Blow it all up. And if you're going to get rid of Jamal Murray, I don't think it should essentially be for a 1-to-1 option with bringing in Jaylen Brown. While, again, I think Brown is an overall upgrade primarily because of the defense, they are essentially just the same offensive caliber of a player. Similar averages last year. Actually, the all-important advanced analytics, which Jaylen Brown was poo-pooing the other day and talking about how they don't mean anything. Well, that's probably because when you look at the advanced analytics, that being PER, BPM, value over replacement, and win shares, well, basically, Jamal Murray is a better player, at least last year, stacked up against Jaylen Brown's last year. Also, as I'm looking at Jaylen Brown's on-off for the season last year, he was a minus 4.6 during the regular season and an atrocious minus 31.4 in the playoffs. Meanwhile, of course, Jamal Murray has played his entire career with Nikola Jokic, so the fit there is probably better, and you would be losing that pick and roll option, which is the primary source or one of the primary sources of the Nuggets offense, the pick and roll between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. So this is really, to me, again, more of a neutral move because you get Brown's defense, but you lose Jamal Murray's better offensive fit around Nikola Jokic. And if you are finally seriously ready to move on from Jamal Murray, if you're the Denver Nuggets, which I think they should have been attempting to do for years now, you have to get more back than just one piece. And Sam Hauser isn't getting it done for me, especially since I just highlighted that Cam Johnson would be part of this outbound package going to Boston in order to bring Hauser and Brown into town. I think, look, the Denver Nuggets should be shopping primarily Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Christian Brown. 3 guys who, in my estimation, are unreliable come playoff time and likely overpaid. Christian Brown and Jamal Murray vastly overpaid, in my opinion, even if they're at full health. And Aaron Gordon, potentially not overpaid if he can ever get on the court. But, well, seemingly that is never going to happen because this guy's hamstrings are made of fruit roll-ups. So you need to ship those 3 guys out and bring, quite frankly, whatever you can back. No, I'm not talking about draft collateral or any kind of first-round picks or anything like that. Nothing that will help Nikola Jokic now, of course. What you need to bring back is viable and serviceable defensive pieces that could fill out basically your roster 1 through 8 around Cam Johnson, Peyton Watson, and Nikola Jokic. So even if this trade ultimately isn't that sexy sounding for Denver, I think if you bring back 3 to 4 serviceable defensive role players who are long, rangy defenders that could defend guards or forwards, bring 3 to 4 pieces back like that you could put around those 3 guys and start building there. You're going to save a bunch of cap space moving forward. You can maybe go out onto the free agent market then at that point, add something else in, and that should entail either cheap ball handling or potentially a high-level rim protector that could play either backing up Nikola Jokic or in tandem with Nikola Jokic on the floor at the same time. You do not need offensive stars. You do not need big names. You do not need sexy or splashy deals to be made. Nikola Jokic can run the entire show offensively. He really doesn't need that much around him from an offensive standpoint. Just put together a solid top 5 net rated defense around Nikola Jokic and watch them contend again for NBA championships. They should not be talking to the Boston Celtics in a potential Jamal Murray trade. There are other teams that need him, and they possess better packages to send back to the Denver Nuggets. I'm talking about the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons, the Portland Trailblazers, hell, even the Houston Rockets. So look, if you tell me this is the only way to get rid of Jamal Murray, fine. Begrudgingly, I guess I'm in on it. But otherwise, they should be shopping Jamal Murray to other teams that possess packages which can actually, get Denver better and improve their outlook for the 2026-2027 NBA season. Guys, many thanks for tuning in. As always, please do make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on at this time, as again, we are on the cusp of NBA free agency kicking off tomorrow. And of course, there are still several trades that are being discussed around the association. So the next week to 2 still promises to be a very busy and intriguing time in the association. And guys, I am here for you to keep you up to date on all of it.